guys? Welcome back to RC Everyday. So, if you've seen on social media, I mentioned I traded my Amigo. I didn't realize how long I've had that. I built that, it was complete about 7 years ago, and all I've done since is change the tires. So, I had that out at USTE, and Austin, a friend of mine from Kentucky, I met him at Beat the Creek and Axialfest, and he had this truck at Beat the Creek when I met him, and we immediately bonded over SquareBodies. So, yeah, he hit me up about the Amigo, and yeah, we made a deal. So, right now, this is an Axial 10.2, and I'm thinking this is going to be my build, or my truck for Axialfest. You know, if you've been with the channel, you know I had a sad experience at Axialfest last year, so we're hoping to have a better time this year. Come a little more prepared. I'm not going to buy anything new in the box from Axial at the event. And yeah, have a little hard body fun while we're at it. So this is a long bed Chevy, which is part of the reason I wanted it so bad, because I've got my short bed back there. Yeah, just wanted long bed. I love long beds. My granddad's truck that I'm still hoping to purchase from the family one day is a 83 or 84. I can't remember. Maybe an 86. It's not the, I prefer this front end, the 73 to 81, I think. But it's a half-ton 350 trans, 4x4, bone stock, got the aluminum grandpa running boards, big toolbox, and it's just setting. And it's driving me crazy that I can't get it and work on it. But it is what it is. So we're going to build an RC one. I don't think I'm going to repaint this truck. So Austin tried his hand at some airbrushing on it. We've got a good base, and I think we're going to build off of that. I love white trucks. My first truck was a white Chevy. My second truck was a white Ford. I've had several white trucks over the years, so I love white trucks. White trucks typically do not weather well. If you remember the C2X build, the C2X rebuild, I guess we'll call it, where we went single cab with a flatbed, that was white. Very, very heavy on the weathering. Doesn't look bad, but I don't want to go that far with it. This truck already has the key rust spots highlighted, so we just need to dull down that white just a smidge. So not sure yet how we're going to do that, but we'll figure it out. So again, it was hard to part with the Amigo, but I haven't run it in over 2 years. Last time I drove it, I may have driven it at my land once, but last time I really drove it was at USTE, I think the first year I went. And I bent all the leaf springs jumping it off the buggy track. It was a little overpowered, and but I'd already done everything I could to it. I mean, that was my first full handmade interior. Everything was, I made the whole floor pan, rear inner fenders were out of Tupperware. So it served its purpose. I'd re-engineered the entire chassis, made a transfer case mount, tucked everything up, had a skid plate I custom made. All the shocks I custom pieced together out of all the spare RC4 drive parts I had, and got that thing setting right where it actually performed very well. And I know Austin's going to love it and take care of it. He's a good dude, and yeah. So I was sweetening the deal with him a little bit because I knew it was going to a good home. If it was just a random person, I probably wouldn't have done this, but he had a nice Castle brushless system in his truck, and I told him to take that out and keep it. It's expensive. I don't like brushless stuff on the crawlers. I don't know. I've only got one and I don't like it. So, yeah, I just like my brush stuff. So I've got a couple options for what we're going to put in it. Again, kind of foreign. This is an Axial based. It's an SEX 10.2. It has the 3-piece axles, non-portal. And we have a cantilever system in the rear. There's an eBay cantilever. So right now the rear is bottomed out. We got all that concrete back there. We can't really do much with that. So we need some more up travel. I mean, it works. It kind of acts as a droop setup, but that's not going to cut it for scale. And we've got a bit of a rake to the front. So not sure yet how we're going to tackle that. I tinkered with it briefly when we were hanging out in Kentucky, but I wasn't successful in getting any more up travel. So it's a challenge ahead of us. I'm excited about it because I've never had one of these cantilever systems on a crawler. I've only done them on the rat rods and things like that. So pretty excited to tinker with it. Not sure of the final look. I've got very few things figured out so far with this, but I can't keep waiting. I've been back home for 2 days now, and I want to tear into this thing so bad. one thing I do have, so I'm still on the fence about repainting my other truck. After drag racing at USTE, it's got some pretty deep gouges in the plastic, so we may be doing some stuff with that. The seat back on the passenger side is broken loose. You can see it's laying in the driver's side. But I had bought this for that truck. This is the one, I think this is that A3A scale Productions on Etsy. This one is made to go over the base of the other seats, so you don't have to cut the whole entire floorboard out and lose all the integrity of your interior. But another thing I have to, we've got a transmission in here, so I don't know how this is all going to work yet. Haven't had the body off at all, but we are going to do a bench seat. I think we're going to try to cover it in some real fabric, not my Mexican blanket looking material, but some actual leather, and try some new stuff out. The other thing I've got figured out, well, obviously I had a receiver, got some Dean's connectors for the really old motor and speed controller we're going to use. So I've had this sitting around for a while. This is a Rooster Crawler with a TerraClaw 55 turn motor. I'm afraid it's going to be so slow, but I can't afford to buy a whole lot of new expensive stuff. I do have a Holmes hobby motor on the way, and I bought one today at my local hobby shop, the Shaka Hobbies. But I got that. That's one of those 4-pole 12 turn or something like that. It's like the one I have in the Blazer. I think it's in the Blazer. It's in one of these trucks. I don't even know. But I want to try this because this is a very expensive setup. I bought this new from Novak right before they went out of business. And yeah, only issue, to me, a connector. So again, I'm not a good solderer. So maybe a trip up to the 110 rod shop in our future for multiple reasons. But so far, that's all I've got planned for this build. I've got a motor in ESC. It has a really nice servo. It has a Reefs 422 or something like that in it. I'm digging the tire and wheels. We've got, I don't know what those are, 155. They look like maybe some Boom Racing wagon wheels. They look a little nicer than the RC four-wheel drive ones. Sorry. Has a nice satin scale finish. And we've got some BFG KO2s, or Mud Terrains, TAKO2, something or another, you know, all of it. But the tire and wheel look good. I have some issues with the offset, and I don't know, because we're dealing with Axial axles. I have no experience with that. So we'll see if we can get the tuck a little bit more, because right now we've got a few issues. We've got a little bit of side-to-side play on the rear axle, and that's bugging me. We can't lower the rear down. So yeah, a lot of things to work out. But first we have to say farewell to the Miata. Amigo is the Miata of the four-wheel drive world, I guess. Got a little montage here that I'm going to make, but I've already made in your time. So yeah, let's look at some clips of that build from along the way, and listen to some sad music and say farewell. I just had to see. It looks dang good. So these are the Traxxas hot rod wheels from their the Fast 5, or not Fast 5. What is that brand? I don't know. All their hot rods. These are the wheels. The non-snap-on ones are black centers, unfortunately. The magnesium ones look way better, but those are only on the snap-on cars. But I just had to see. I love long beds, so it looks so good lowered. But that's not what we're here to do, so I have to unpimp the auto. Alright, so here's what we're working with. We've got some homemade inner fenders, front battery mount. That is a Reefs. I don't know what that is. It says 440 on it, but, or 444. I don't know. It's a Reef servo. Centered diff and all that jazz. Cantilever on a custom extended chassis rail. You can see we have no up travel here. So what it looks like to me, what I tried to do before, let me zoom in. Everything's just kind of in the wrong place. So I think we need to flip the frame brackets to the opposite side, move the actual arm above the axle. We'll probably have to shorten this link, and then move the shock back to the end of the frame, and hopefully that'll get everything jiving a little bit better. But I don't like this side-to-side slop we got going here. That is way too much. I'm not sure what to do about that. We've got some homemade links here. I don't know if better rod ends would tighten that up, or do we really need a panhard, or do we just scrap all this and put leaf springs on the back? All right, guys. I think I got that sorted out actually pretty quick. So the upper 4-link mounts on the axle were just stock Axial plastic ones, and they were sloppy. They were pretty well worn out, so swapped out the entire upper links with some RC 4-wheel drive stuff, and we've stopped that side-to-side flex that we had in the rear. All I did on the cantilever, I'll show you more of that here in a second, but I flipped the mounts around and moved the shock back to a further hole. And now we have up travel, pretty much the perfect amount. We may have to fine tune those shocks. But look at all that. Look at this amount of flex we got. Got a little bit of tire rub. We have a little bit more up front, so not sure how that's going to pan out. But yeah, we accomplished the goal in this video, is to get the rear suspension fixed and jiving right. So let me pull the body off and show you that. So that body has quite a bit of weight to it. You can see how high it sticks up in the back now. Yeah, just flipped the mounts around, used the same holes, and it moved our pivot point back, made some shorter rods to connect the axle to the cantilever arm, and I moved the shocks from here back to here. Now everything is working great. Still not loving these bottom links. I mean, you can see that's 2 rods put together. I don't know if I have any quite long enough to replace that yet, but we'll see. But we still got a lot of tunability here. We've got the shock, it's cranked pretty far up. We could change the spring if we need to. That looks like an Axial spring that's cut down. So I've got a lot of that stuff laying around. The front end has some scale shocks, and they actually feel really good. They don't have a whole lot of rebound, but they have a lot of droop. Feel like they're grease filled. I'm not sure what size those are or anything, but we're going to rock it like it is for now. And we'll do some fine tuning as we go to get everything working where it's not, because I don't want a whole bunch of torque steer when you throttle and truck leans to one side. I'm trying to do away with that. And that's always a challenge with 4-link rigs. So yeah, next time I think we'll get the electronics installed and go from there. But we put it all back together here. All right, so I think that's pretty good. Tuck's perfect in the back, except we're going to have a little bit of rub up front, especially turning to the front. We're hitting the inner fenders a little bit in the back. Just have to see how it does. Again, I'm still not in love with this offset. I got the rear axle centered and locked in, but we've got a little bit more tire poke in the back than we do in the front. And I don't understand what the cause of that is. We'll have to look at those axles a little bit closer. We might be able to just throw a narrower hex on the back and call it good. Or, who knows? So, yeah, a lot of stuff on the list for this still. Like I said, we are putting the bullhorns on the front. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's fits the truck. So we're going that route. Love the grill on this. This has kind of got a satin gray plastic look and looks very factory. And with the proper color of the bow tie. I don't know what you call that. Golden. So anyways, I'm going to wrap this video up here, guys. Appreciate y'all watching. Hope y'all don't miss the Amigo too much on the channel. We haven't done nothing much with it in a while, so you know, time to move on with some things. Have a hard time parting with rigs, but that one I don't feel real bad about. I think we did a good thing, and ready to see where this build goes, because it's going to be fun. So gotta get ready for Axialfest Badlands, which is June, first weekend of June, I think, somewhere around there. Yeah, so until next time, guys, get out there and do something with the hobby. Have some fun, keep it scale, and I'll see y'all next time.